Hey, good afternoon. Wow, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Steve Kinoshita. I'm here from Our Promise, California State Employees Giving It Work. I appreciate your time, and I also appreciate you, whether you're voluntold or you actually volunteered for this assignment. How many folks here were voluntold? Be honest with me. Volunteer? Okay, good. How many returners? Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm back. I'm a retired state worker, state employee. I was a lieutenant for the California Highway Patrol assigned to Stockton last year, and I was actually voluntold to be a loan executive. And at first, I would just kind of, okay, I'm a professional, I'll get it done. I didn't know much about the campaign. And as I proceeded through the campaign last year, I developed a passion for it. And now that I'm retired, I'm back with the United Way, working directly for them. So now it is a passion. How's this? Is that a little better? Okay, he's got it. Well, anyway, so I am back. I'm working directly for the United Way. I do have a passion for this, and later on down the road here, I'll give you a few reasons why. I've been asked to give the Reader's Digest version of this, so please keep up. Everybody has a copy of the notes, correct? The PowerPoint notes? So feel free to take notes. All the information you need is on the PowerPoint slides and also on the departmental training manual. So everybody ready? Let's get going. Okay, here's a roadmap of what we want to go over today. Some of you probably can't see it, so just going to talk a little bit what actually is Our Promise, the logo itself. Most importantly, roles, responsibilities, and best practices. And I'm sure a lot of folks have some questions about completing the form. I'm here to answer that during the training. If you have additional questions, I'll be here briefly after we're done too, if you want to talk offline. And frequently asked questions and common objections that you'll run across. And there are a few new cash handling and auditing issues that we changed up just a little bit from last year. Okay, Our Promise was lawfully established in 1957 through the government code. It's the old CSEC program. All it does is provide state employees the opportunity to give to a nonprofit or charity of your choice. So we're not here to twist arms or anything. It's just the statute just requires the opportunity. And of course that opportunity comes on that pledge form. There are 3 key players. Last year it was victims compensation, while DGS has taken over that role, Department of General Services. They contract with the PCFD, or the local United Way happens to be us, Sacramento United Way Capital Region. And the State Controller's Office, of course, they're the ones that deduct the funds directly from your paycheck, so to speak. The logo, anyone familiar with the logo? Why we rebranded it? How's this? Yeah. Did he leave? Well, I guess I'll just put my mouth right on the microphone. Okay, the logo itself here. The most important part for me is the little gold piece in the top left. That represents the state employees filling in the need. If anyone else, we're doing the Reader's Digest version here, so I'm going to move on. Okay, United Way's role, we are the principal combined fund drive, or PCFD. We are contracted with DGS, and we help facilitate this program statewide. Okay. We distribute the money or the funds through the nonprofits quarterly. Okay, so these funds are kept in a non-interest bearing account, and then quarterly we do basically direct deposit to all the participating nonprofits. And of course, there's ongoing donor and volunteer support. If you have a pledge form with you, On the back of the pledge form, there is an 888 number, and you can contact that. And so if one of you were to sign up for, let's say, $25 a month, a few months down the line, you decide, I'd like to do 50, you can change it by calling the 888 number. Also this year, has anyone been on the Our Promise website? Okay, there's actually a website, ourpromise.org. You can actually sign up for an account there, and you can make changes on the go there. So two different ways. So because you sign up with that pledge form doesn't mean you're locked into that amount. And of course, United Way oversees the nonprofit certification process. This year there are 2,900 certified nonprofits on the Our Promise site. And of course, if someone has a passion for another nonprofit, it could be your church or it could be your soccer team, booster club from the high school, you can also donate. There's a write-in area for that. Has anyone ever heard of GuideStar here? Okay, so if your nonprofit that you like to help during the year is not located on the Our Promise site, there's an easy search feature. You can go to GuideStar and you can find the nonprofit and get their code, all the information you need to donate to them. GuideStar. We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Personally, I only use Facebook. But please feel free to go to Facebook and like Our Promise and like the United Way Capital Region. You can follow what we're doing. Instagram and Twitter, I don't know, it seems to be more like young people. I don't participate with that. They're trying to get me to, but I don't. But you're going to help us promote and spread the word. Okay, last year in 2015, statewide we raised $6.2 million, and that's all state employees. Everywhere, all state employees, with an 11% participation rate. So this year, our goal of 2016, 100% ask like usual. 15% participation, we like to reach 7 million, and have fun. Like I said, we don't want to twist arms. We want to have some fun events. There is a nonprofit fair coming up that DCA is going to host, and I can get you the date at the end of the presentation. They did a really nice one here last year. I think it had a couple food trucks out on the street. Even one was like lobster. I didn't know they sold lobster out of food trucks, but learn something new every day. This is past. Did anyone make the big kickoff on August 30th? There was about 150 nonprofits there. September 1st is when the campaign begins statewide, and it ends on October 31st. Every state agency generally has their own campaign dates that they choose. They'll choose a 2 or 3 week period to run the campaign. So, over 2 months it can tend to get stale. Okay, what are the state employee benefits? You'll probably get this question. Okay, we went over this. State employees can donate to any recognized 501c3. So if your nonprofit is not on the Our Promise website, again, use GuideStar. You can get the information and enter it in. And if you're having trouble with GuideStar, just write as much information you can in the right inbox, and then United Way will do the research for you. A $5 minimum to participate through payroll deduction, and that's $5 per nonprofit. Okay. Allows for friendly competition among agencies. There are some agencies out there that compete with each other, for percentage of participation or overall dollar amount. Provides the ease of giving one-time donation or a monthly donation through your paycheck. And dollars to nonprofits actually go further when donations are made monthly. Does anyone here know why? Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer there. It makes the monthly donations make it easier to budget over the year. As I mentioned before, the money is put into a non-interest-bearing account. The money is disseminated every quarter. So let's say, hypothetically, SPCA, United Way contacts them at the end of the campaign and says, you're going to get this much money quarterly through the Our Promise campaign. Well, they know what's coming in, and they can project their budget over the year. And yes, a one-time donation night is great to have, and they love that too. But yes, it is a little more difficult to budget off that. Anyone here getting ready to retire? Nobody. Wow. I'm retired. I'm part of the Retirees Giving Club, and I'm what you call a leadership giver. So $83.34 a month. I actually did $87.50, but $1,000 a year puts you in the leadership category, and I give directly to United Way. That opportunity is available through your CalPERS payroll or monthly credit card charge. And here's payroll deduction. It's convenient, right? Automatically withdrawn. Eliminates the need to write checks, eliminates multiple check processing for nonprofits, and deducts in little amounts so it also fits into your budget. So does anyone know the overhead for our promise? That's an upcoming slide, but does anyone know off the top of their head the overhead for our promise? Everyone knows that a nonprofit has an overhead, correct? Okay, the average nation average for overhead is about 20 to 25%. For the Our Promise campaign, it is 14%. Also, post-tax deductible, your donation is. Your question will come up, can I get a receipt? Yes. The 888 number on the back, you can call and they'll mail you a receipt or email you a receipt. Or on your pay stub, you can just collect those, and that's good enough for an audit. There's the overhead, 14%. For our campaign, it'll cost a donor resource guide, pledge forms, training materials, minimal personnel costs and such. That 14% is divided amongst the aforementioned agencies. So State Controller's Office, that actually does the deduction and filters out where it needs to be. United Way, we facilitate the campaign, and DGS. It helps us website maintenance, also year-round support, and the certification process for nonprofits. So anytime you have any kind of business, whether it's nonprofit or profit, there's always going to be some kind of overhead. We do our best to keep it low. I'm one of only 2 campaign executives this year. They've had additional in the past, but this year we actually have, I think it's 8 or 9 loaned executives from state agencies that come out. That basically an agency such as Caltrans or CHP will actually loan the employee to United Way. So that keeps costs down. So because of the extra loaned execs, they're able to cut the number of campaign executives in half this year. So I'm one of only 2. Undesignated funds. So if you or one of your folks were to sign up a new enrollee on a form, put their social security number down, and not designate the funds simply go to the United Way. And that is definitely not a bad thing. They have some great programs there. Square One, Collective Impact. So, how do you get involved? Well, you can give your time, give your talent, give your treasure. Now that I'm retired, I can do all 3. I've always done a little of the first 2, but I've always given them my treasure. So quite frankly, the easiest way is just sign up for the campaign, find the nonprofit you have a passion for, and donate. Okay, we consider this to be an educational campaign. Okay, you want to educate, so when you're contacting your coworkers and trying to explain this program, let's provide an education. What's it about? Inform the employees of all their giving options. Show them how to donate if they choose to participate. And you can highlight the value, the importance of the nonprofits, and we'll go over a few a little bit later, and demonstrate the benefits, obviously. The goal for this campaign should just be 100% ask. Just give everybody the opportunity to give. Here's your roles and responsibilities. And instead of going down every bullet, there's a full position statement on page 5 of your Key Connector training manual. There's several bullets up there, and they're written kind of small, and I'm getting older, so I don't even think I'll attempt it. Your best practices. Conduct that strong educational campaign. Okay? Now, what would happen to a lot of these nonprofits if no one donated or no one gave? A lot of them would go under. Like everybody's heard of the Red Cross, right? SPCA, Shriners, very important nonprofits that depend on your donations. Bring nonprofits into your campaign. I just came from Food and Agriculture, and they had what they're doing is they're doing a series of 3 nonprofit fairs. So they did one today with about 10 nonprofits, and they're doing a larger venue tomorrow with about 15, and then they'll cap off on a Wednesday when they have about 30 in combination with Calvet and Caltrans. David and Tracy, again, will be running their own nonprofit fair. And I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head. We'll get you that date at the end. I'd encourage you to attend. Now, make it personal. Tell your story. That I do recommend a personal story if you're comfortable with that. If you happen to be doing a presentation in a small group. Everybody in here likely there's a nonprofit out there that has affected you personally. And of course, communicate through the campaign, like personal connection up front with training or making contact, and then via email. Okay, sample presentations. There's your template. I'm not going to do a presentation today because, like I said, we're doing the Reader's Digest version here to move you along through your workday. But there's a nice guide. If you have any questions regarding a presentation or need help or would like me to do one or another nonprofit, you can work with Tracy or David, and we'd be happy to either come out ourselves or get a nonprofit to do it for you. How to complete the pledge form. Does anybody have a pledge form with you? If not, you can probably I got some blanks up here. Okay, audience participation. Can anyone name that there's 3 reasons to enter your Social Security number on that pledge form? Can someone name one? Yes. Yes, that is why. That is why we need the Social Security number, because that's the only way the state controller has to access your pay warrant, right? Now you're filling out and by the way, my wife Tracy Kindershita is also a campaign executive. She's working with SEO and another organization. They're actually going to change that process. They're going to have an employee ID number at some point. So they're catching up. It's like for CalPERS, you have an ID number, and they'll be doing much the same. So in the future, you won't need to enter your Social Security number anymore. And for the pledge form, there'll be an employee ID number, so a lot safer. Okay, so now you're filling the pledge form out. Do you need to enter your pledge form for a continue? Let's say you're donating $20 a month, and you just want to continue, and you're going to mark the continue box. Do you need to enter your Social Security number? Answer is no, right? No, you do not. What about if you're a new enrollee? You've never done this before. Yes. What about if you're declining? You don't currently participate, and you're just going to mark the decline box. No, right. What about if you're going to make a change? You want to change who you're donating to. Yes, because they have to access the pay warrant, yes. What if you're going to change the amount? You're going to go from 20 to 50. Yes. So how about delete? What if you're a current donor and you're going to delete your contribution? Yes. Good. That's it. The information will be in the training manual. Yes. So 3 reasons. So new enrollee, you're going to make a change or a deletion of an account. So you're contributing now and you're no longer going to do that. That's it. There's also, if you have a pledge form, you turn it to the back, turn it over. There's a little cheat sheet back there. Right at the top. There you go. Okay, these pledge forms do need to be completed in ink. Electronic signatures are no good. Maybe into the future, but they do need to be completed and signed in ink. Okay, one of the changes this year, for those who are going to enter a Social Security number, okay, there's a confidential envelope available that has a series of check boxes on it. They can seal it in here, hand it back to you. It will need to be open when it goes back to a chair such as David, because he needs to verify that it was filled out properly. But this does add another layer of security. So this was added just this year. And does this need to go to someone that's going to decline? No. Or continue? No. Just if they're going to enter that social. Okay. Yes, actually, David will have a supply of them. And for the the offices located throughout the state, they can be obtained at the local PCFD. So, for instance, if you have an office in Los Angeles, they can contact the United Way of Greater Los Angeles, which they should be working with them already, and grab some envelopes there or any material that they may need. So auditing, we just talked about the envelope. So basically when you collect all of your forms up here in this, everyone is from the Sacramento area that's in this room, okay. So you'll be collecting your forms, okay, and you'll be providing them to David. David would probably appreciate that you separate them into like continues, news, and changes. It'll just make his life a little bit easier. And look for missing signatures and such. There are instructions in the manual. Okay. Now, cash handling procedures. Page 16 in the key connector training manual takes care of that. Once I come and I meet with David and Tracy, I'm going to bring probably another rep with me, maybe. But you want to have at least 2 people there, get a receipt. In the meantime, David and Tracy, as they're collecting money, should be, keeping it in a safe spot, like a safe. Receipts are always provided. Yes. Yes, one-time donations. On the pledge form, there's a spot for a one-time donation, so keep the cash and checks together. Also, fundraisers, like I just came from there selling pizza and soda, and they're collecting the money and they're going to put it aside. And then they actually do fill out a pledge form, because usually when an agency does a fundraiser, they'll identify, like let's say, we want to raise money for the SPCA, so they'll fill out a pledge form, they'll collect all the money, fill it in as a one-time donation, and send it. Right, exactly, yes. And all checks for one-time donations should be made to our promise. Then the form actually is a designation. We talked a little bit about retirees. Section 7 there has someone who's getting ready to retire. You can mark that box. Or you can go online to United Way, Capital Region, and there's an area where you can sign up to be a retiree giver. Pretty user-friendly. Common objections. Of course, we address this with the envelope, but knock on wood, there hasn't been any kind of breach throughout in the history of the campaign. So no identity theft issues. Everyone signs a confidentiality agreement. That's just a formality. We're all state employees. We know about protecting identities and such. Your department always takes major secure pledge forms. Donors can now use the pledge form envelope, and we're in compliance with the Security Standards Council. And as I mentioned, a proven history of accountability. We never had a breach. This is the question, about the one time, you're given directly to the SPCA or to Shriners, and that's great. This is just another avenue to give, and as we've discussed already, allowing a nonprofit to budget. And also, when the United Way is sending these funds directly to the nonprofit, it eliminates actually their overhead because they're getting a direct deposit into their account, so they're not having to process checks and such. They just get the money directly. So if they have a 25% overhead and you're contributing to it, they're going to benefit from that. So that, there is a reason there's 2,900 certified nonprofits, sign up for a campaign. Yes, $5 a month really does make a difference. If, we have over 300,000 employees in the state, so just think if everybody did $5 a month, how much money that would raise. It would be quite a bit more than 6.2 or 7 million, correct? So yes, $5 can't, when you add it up, yes, it does go a long way. And I think I asked this, ourpromise.org, has anyone been there? I'd recommend just taking a look at it. That material on your lap or on your chair is on the website. Everything you need for the campaign is on the website. Key connector, departmental chair training, there's PowerPoints, there's actually a video on there, so anything you may need. All the 2,900 certified nonprofits are on there. They're actually going away from the donor guide. Remember that 30-page thing that had all the nonprofits listed? It is now online. The donor guide is about 8 pages long now, so they've done that to cut down costs. And also, as you can see, blank pledge forms. If you want to see results from past campaigns, so if you want to look at consumer affairs results from past years, you can take a look at it. Okay, does anyone have any general questions? I'm just going to brief. Yes, sir. So they just want to they just want to continue. Hmm? Actually, you don't even have to fill a form. You're right. You wouldn't even have to. If you fill the form out, you can mark continue, sign it, and hand it back. But if you were not to do anything, it would continue. The only way the state controller will make a change is if you fill out one of the forms, and sign it, add your social security number, or you go to the website or make a call from the 888 number. So yes, this is actually an 80% rollover campaign. So obviously they're trying to build on that. Yes. Yes, that's. I got the question is asking your employees to return them, whether they're going to contribute or not, or continue or not. There are many state agencies that like to have them returned, just for the accountability. Yes, just for the accountability. However, there are some agencies that only require if they, if they're going to enter the social security number, okay, we want it back. Otherwise, they don't want it. That is personal preference. It's up to the state agency. The United Way, our promise, we don't care, because what do you think we do with the declines? All right, we recycle them, right? Now the continues too. The continues also. We used to last year. What I was doing, a big part of my job during processing was to enter everything on a spreadsheet. So all the continues were entered on a spreadsheet, and it was kind of an ongoing tally. We have a different processor this year. Someone does it for us, so I don't even need the continue back. So what I did last year was enter the information, then I'd recycle it. This year, I'm not even going to enter the information. It just goes to another location or doesn't go at all. It just will continue. David, would you like all the forms back? David just wants the ones with the socials on them, so that's a policy. I'm sorry, I can't hear, sir. One form? Okay. Well, let's see if we can increase that. Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. Well, like I said, I came from CHP, and we give typically probably 90 to 95% of the forms do come back. The only ones that didn't come back were people that were on vacation. But so we had like it makes it a little, it will make it a little tougher on David, but because what I was doing as the loan exec last year from CHP, we have 11,700 employees. I didn't get all 11,700, but I got all the thousands of people up here in SAC, and I was helping separate them by decline and continue, and this, because you're going through everything. So, but it's up to David and Tracy how they like that. Yes. Oh, I'm just repeating what David's saying. So a lot of the agencies like food and agriculture, they require all the forms back. They actually go to each employee and say, I want your form back whether you're declining or not. Okay. But some agencies don't feel they don't want to do that, or they don't have the time for that. But it is up to Tracy and David. There are chairs. I can't tell them, I want you collecting, I wouldn't, every single form back. They prefer, it looks like, that if you're going to have a social security number on it, that they want it back. We can talk offline a little bit more after this. Excuse me? No. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, if you're, you can get with David and Tracy at the conclusion of this. If you're more comfortable with, me personally, the way we did it, my experience with CHP is that we disseminated the forms, and we said, can you just get them back to me by a certain date? And they'd all go in a box, and then if we're missing 10 out of, like, let's say 120 in an area, we would, either call them or send an email. We give them another day, but if we didn't get them, then we just turn everything in. That's how we did it. So we weren't like knocking on doors and twisting arms and stuff. We were just saying, here, and generally we got most of them back. And the ones that were on vacation, maybe we didn't get it back. So it's not that big of a deal. Right. They might just shred. You can't help, but like if some people might just throw it away. You're right. You can't help that. So you're never going to get 100% of them back. But my experience with CHP was we would get a vast majority. We would ask, set a certain date, have them here, and most of them were there, and then we give it another couple days, make a couple calls or emails or whatever, and get a few more back, and then we'd move on. Okay? Everybody comfortable with that? Well, the final date of the campaign is October 31st, but David and Tracy will set that date for you. Yeah, you're the key connectors, they're your chairs, so that communication, he has, like I said, I'll get you that date for that nonprofit event. Generally, that's like a kickoff event, and they're going to pick either a 2-week period or a 3-week period to basically go around and talk about the forms, get them signed in, and they'll have an NLT date to get all the forms to them. So, okay. Any other questions about that? Yes. Or like a brand new employee that wasn't an employee when. Gotcha. Because they either came from another agency or they're just hired maybe 2 months ago. Right. I'll provide David. I have a bunch of blank forms here. You can grab them. Okay. And if you ever need any help filling these things out, you can call David or Tracy. If they're busy, just call the United Way. Ask for me. I'll leave a couple business cards here. I can walk you through the process. There's also some instruction online. Yeah, if he's busy, I'm always available. Yeah, David's been around for a while. Been around longer than me, actually, doing this, right? Several years. Any other questions? Yes. Let me take a look at. Right, you're talking about the PCFD. There's so if you have your forms in front of you, there may be 3 X's on it, or there may be a number, like let's say 024. Yeah, 024, that's the PCFD code. If you look in the back, that matches United Way Capital Region. That means this person's assigned to Sacramento, and that does mean that they're a current donor. So if there's 3 X's, that means they're not a current donor. Yeah, 11%. So I'm not sure at the top of my head what the DCA participation rate is, but statewide, all state employees, it's 11%. So you're going to have a lot of X's, right? Right now, for large agencies, CHP typically has about a 28 or 29% participation rate. So the most. Right. I wouldn't stress out too much over it. Just set an NLT date. Say I need your forms back by a certain date, and then do your best to get the missing ones, and then forward them to David, and David will take care of the rest. DMV was what? I'm sorry. No, I think David's competitive. But I think he's also, it does create, how many, David, how many employees do you have in statewide? Yeah, I think that he's the vice chair, and he's looking at maybe 3,000 forms compared to, less than that. So it is, I mean, last year, that was my only task. I was a loan executive for CHP. That was my job. Now the tough thing, and that's why I appreciate all of you here. You're giving of your time, you're volunteering, or even if you're voluntold, thank you very much. David does this, I think, out of the goodness of his heart, but he does have a full-time job too. So me, when I was the loan exec, and me now, this is what I do. So if you want to send me 10,000 forms, that's fine. Actually, my wife and I and a few of the other folks at United Way actually went through all 300,000 forms and separated them by agency and county, and it took a while, but that's okay, because that's what I do. So I understand where David's coming from, and Tracy and him will drive the way this is done. Now, when you're collecting them, if you want to set that date and it makes you comfortable that way, that's what I would do. I would set, he'll set a date, and I would set a date before that and say, hey, maybe 3 or 4 days before that, I need all the forms. It gives you, 24, 48 hours to try to get the ones that aren't in yet. And then by his date, go ahead and get him everything. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, 11%. 11% of all, that's the current participation rate for all state employees. That is correct. So we're trying to, previous slide indicated 15%. We like to get 15% participation. and go from 6.2 million to 7 million. So that's this year's statewide campaign. And really, so we moved to that pretty quick. We got a little bit of time here. So my experience as a state employee, okay, the times I gave were when I was contacted personally and educated. So then I gave. I think it was $2 back then. I think I gave the minimum. The next time I upped it a little bit. But what happened the first time, I think maybe I had 1 or 2 years on. I was contacted by a key connector such as yourself, and I went, oh yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. Signed up for it. And then several years, I was not contacted, and so I forgot what the form was. It probably changed. I don't know, declined. So I just shut it down, right? Then I was provided another, either a present. So in 28 and a half years, I saw 2 presentations, and they're kind of split up. Because then I ended up falling off again, because 28 years is kind of a long time. And then by the time I got around to being a loan executive, like I said, I was voluntold. I really didn't know what the program was. I went to the training, and I did some site visits and such, and developed a passion for this. Really, the first week, the first couple days that when I got that loan exec job last year, was sitting in a classroom with PowerPoints and learning. Just learning about the program, how to fill out the form, and technical stuff. By the third day, we were doing site visits, and I visited a Boys and Girls Club, which is part of the United Way's Collective Impact Square One program. So what it does is it helps underprivileged children, and it provides them with a nice, healthy environment, gives them physical activity, education, and provides some financial stability because it is affordable. So it's basically after-school care and summer care. Okay. So I got a little tour of this facility and took a look. There's some sports going on. There's some homework going on with some tutors, and there's some board games going on, and there's some kids eating healthy snacks. And they kind of explain each station, what's going on here. Got to continue with the tour, the room in the back, and there were some kids drawing pictures. And I was introduced as a CHP officer, and a few of my fellow loan execs were introduced for their professions. And I'm walking around, and I ran across a little boy that's about 6, 7 years old, and I asked him how he's doing. He looked up at me and says, hey, are you the police officer? I said, well, yeah, I'm a CHP officer. It's the same but different. We're just responsible for freeways in the counties. And I was the typical 6, 7, 8-year-old. They want to see your badge, or they want to look at your gun, or whatever, right? He didn't go there. What he said is, I wish you were my daddy. So that made an impact. That was a Wednesday. I started training on Monday. I kind of liked it. I'm like, well, I could do this. I'm a professional. I'm going to get this done. Well, that turned a profession into something personal and something that I actually developed a passion for. And I looked around, and I know why they brought me there. They brought us there because they want to see, adult mentors. I'm there about, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever the visit was. But then I look around, and I see all these college kids and these volunteers, and I see some adults that are working there and donating their time. And I was like, wow, this is an extremely important program, because I think all of us realize that education, financial stability, and nutrition, those are 3 things. If you got those things wired, you're probably on a pathway to success. Okay, so this young man had lost his father. I'm guessing the mom was single income. So now, financial stability, she has affordable care, right? Time-wise, she's working full-time. She picks him up at 6:30 at night. Well, she knows that he's done his homework, and if he had any issues, there's a tutor there, okay? Also knows that he's had at least 1 healthy meal. So now she's got to provide him dinner. He eats dinner, and now they can spend time together, because that's very, very important to spend time with the parents. So that is why, one of the main reasons I'm back with the United Way. Okay. So I know everyone in here has some kind of story. I have 10 stories I can tell you about a nonprofit. Anyone here love cats and dogs or rabbits? Or I love the SPCA. I love the Bradshaw Animal Shelter. My wife and I foster cats for a nonprofit. Okay. We just, one of our friends, people know we do it, they found 4 kittens on Watt Avenue in the middle of the road in the dark. He thought they were a bunch of little leaves or some debris. At last second, he sees there are actually a couple tabbies and a couple little black cats. He stopped and he collected them. And they texted my wife. We're at dinner on a Friday night. It's about 8:30, and they want to know what to do with them. Well, we ended up meeting them and contacting, Teaching Everyone Animals Matter, which is a nonprofit affiliated with the Bradshaw Animal Shelter. So we are now fostering again. She gave up fostering for about a month and a half because our older cat recently passed, and she just was very sad. But now we're back in it, so we've got 4 little kittens. And the impact of that is, anyone you hear of the animal study, you got a dog or a cat, reduces your chance of heart attack by 30% and stroke by the same. I believe in that because they do have a calming effect. I had a stressful career, 28 years, and I've always had a dog and a cat, and they do make an impact on me when I come home. You know, I could be having a bad day, and you got a little kitty purring or a dog just happy to see you just because you're you. So it does make a big difference. So any other questions, folks? Like I said, I'll be here for just a little while longer. If you want to go over that form in detail, we can. Again, this was I apologize for the speed, but David said we need to get you folks out of here within that hour. So I do appreciate your time. And again, I'm always available for questions, as is David. Thank you.
And just remember, folks, September 28th, a week from Wednesday, I believe, is going to be our kickoff event here at DCA headquarters. So September 28th, we're going to line the breezeway with charities, and they're going to ask our folks for money, and we're going to see if we can help fill out some forms. All right? 28th. Lunch hours, 11 to 1. There's a handful off the top of my head. Wellspring Women, SPCA Sacramento is coming. There's a bunch of them. I'll figure out the list and get it out. Let me figure out where we are on our RSVPs because we have a limited number of slots. But yes, we can figure out if we have open slots. We'd certainly welcome suggestions on who to invite next. The nonprofit list that we have established for the last several years has been established by going to the Capitol event that happens in July and meeting the charities who go there. And that's generally how we develop our list. We did not send out an invite to everybody. Yes, sir, in the back. We have not set a date for when we need the forms back. Hopefully this will give you, your crash course on being able to help people fill them out if they're so inclined, especially since September 28th is coming up quickly. But it will be after the kickoff event. Tracy will set a date as soon as we have an idea of what that is. That has been the plan in the past, and that's a good idea. I would plan on that being the plan, and an email will go out. Yeah, there will be an email going out after this meeting to all of you guys with more details on how we're proceeding. I work for DCA. Yes, I'm in the correspondence unit downstairs. Yes. You will not need to send out, there will be a DCA-wide email that will go out saying, here's the event, and then there will be a separate email for key campaigners saying, here's the timeline of when to hand out forms, when to collect them. I will take confidentiality agreements. Yes, sir. I don't know that there's a limit on cash contributions. Yeah. We will. Blank forms are available online. Yeah, be sure to lock up any cash, lock up anything with a social security number on it, please.
At the end of the campaign, I'll be able.
Typically, no. If you're that motivated, we would love for you to be, but most people do not do their own presentation.
If you would like a presentation for your unit, you can work with David and Tracy, and then contact us, and we can arrange it for you. Yes. Yeah, I've been at several this year. One of them was California Conservation Corps. They actually did like a breakfast, kind of a continental breakfast along with it. They had 3 nonprofits, including me. We all did presentations. And then a little bit of question and answer just as a follow-up to the key connector. And, that between the slide and that manual should pretty much answer everything. But David's an awesome resource. And if there's something for some reason he couldn't answer, he can just give me a call. So.
Email is wonderful. My name is David Bouet, and I'll spell that last name for you. It's B as in boy, O-U-I-L-L-Y. And I'll say it one more time. B as in boy, O-U-I-L-L-Y. So it's david.bouet@dca.ca.gov.
These are a lot of great questions, and what this indicates to me is it seems like you guys do want to be involved and would like to see this thing succeed. So I appreciate that. Questions are good. These are good questions, and this is awesome. I'd encourage you all to go to the event on the 28th. I'll be there with the booth, and if you have further questions, feel free to come to the booth, and I'll walk you through a pledge form. Okay. Now, although inner workings is how the pledge forms are turned in, it really is up to David. So work with him. I don't want to, and I'm not going to twist his arm and say, "Hey, buddy, you need to get all those forms back." It really is up to him. He's busy. He's a busy man, and I know Tracy's a busy lady. So, okay.
Is that the last of the questions? All right. Enjoy. Yes, sir.
Most popular nonprofits. I think you guys have done that.
So, so any ideas that you have about campaign activities or promotions? Let us know in the Key Connector email that's going to go out possibly later today. That might be a little ambitious, but certainly, early this week, the next Key Connector email will go out, and just throw out any ideas that you have.
representative over there for 3 or 4 months. Remember the loaned executive program? That's how I got involved. I was actually loaned to the United Way for about 4 months, and that can make a huge difference too.
All right. Everybody enjoy your afternoon.